You know what's strange? We obsess over boomers and their real estate. We dissect millennials and their spending habits. Gen Z and their side hustles get entire think pieces. But the generation in the middle? They move quietly. They build wealth quietly and act like it could all disappear tomorrow. Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980. Your coworker with a healthy retirement account who still behaves like one bad month could wreck everything. Your uncle with serious savings who refuses to replace a perfectly functional 15-year-old car. The friend who spends $700 on concert tickets but uses coupons at the grocery store. It looks inconsistent until you understand what shaped them. Picture this. Early 1980s. You're a kid. You watch your parents live by a simple formula. One stable job, predictable paychecks, a pension at the end, a mortgage with a clear finish line. Work hard, stay loyal, retire safely. The system feels solid. Fast forward, you're in your 30s or early 40s. You followed the rules, got the degree, saved responsibly, invested consistently. Then, markets crash. Retirement accounts shrink. Companies lay off employees who gave them decades. The formula wasn't a guarantee. That realization didn't just hurt financially. It rewired how they think about money. Here's the first paradox. Generation X is deeply anxious about retirement, and yet they are disciplined savers. They don't fully trust the outcome, but they contribute anyway. That's not optimism, it's preparation. Expect instability. Prepare aggressively. Reduce exposure. They aren't pessimists. They're people who saw the ground shift. Now look at income. Long before hustle culture became fashionable, Gen X was already building secondary income streams. But here's the difference. They rarely abandon the primary job. They add layers. They don't leap. Consulting work, rental income, a small side business, not to escape. Employment, to avoid dependence. They watch loyal employees escorted out with severance packages and no warning. That image stays with you, and once you've seen it, you never rely on one paycheck again. Another contradiction. They will leave a company without much hesitation, but they stay loyal to the same brands for decades. The same jeans, the same neighborhood spots. Why? Institutions changed the rules. Familiar brands stayed consistent. This isn't nostalgia. It's controlled trust. When large systems feel unstable, predictability becomes valuable. Now they're spending. Generation X saves methodically, yet they spend heavily on experiences, travel, concerts, live events. They hesitate to upgrade luxury items, but they don't hesitate to buy memories. That's not irrational. It's calculated. They've seen assets fall in value, homes drop, markets contract, possessions fluctuate, experiences don't. You can't repossess a memory. You can't devalue a trip you already took. In an unstable economy, internal returns feel safer than external ones. Then there's debt. Generation X often carries large mortgages, but they avoid revolving credit. A mortgage is structured, defined payments, clear timeline. Credit card debt feels indefinite, open-ended, harder to control. They don't fear borrowing, they fear unpredictability. If the debt has a map, they'll use it. If it feels chaotic, they avoid it. Even their paperwork reflects this mindset. Many still keep physical copies of important documents. Not because they don't understand digital systems, they helped build the digital age. But they also lived through system failures. Databases crash, records disappear, companies collapse. Digital is efficient, paper is tangible. Redundancy feels intelligent when you've watched infrastructure fail. From the outside, their behavior looks conflicted. High savings, high experience spending, brand loyalty, job, mobility, debt caution, multiple income streams, but it's coherent. They adapted to an economy that promised stability and delivered volatility. They save because trust feels fragile. They diversify because loyalty wasn't rewarded. They invest in experiences because tangible assets can evaporate. Generation X isn't confused about money. They're calibrated. Calibrated to uncertainty. Calibrated to system failure. Calibrated to change. If this made you think, take a second and notice the money patterns in your own life or in the people around you. And if you're interested in the psychology behind how different generations handle money in life, make sure you don't miss the next one, because your financial habits aren't random. They're shaped responses to the environment that formed you. And when you look at it that way, Gen X's behavior doesn't seem strange at all. It makes perfect sense.